Mars on its own already has a certain domain that is being worked and coordinated on through SpaceX. That's why they move back and forth so much with the rockets. And they have all that equipment. They're helping to maintain and manage the motivational codes for the next stage. Because the way this current planet is going, it's downsizing instead of upsizing. And what I mean by that is moving downwards. We want things to move upwards. So if we're going to maintain things on this planet, humans have the right to maintain things on others, but for an authorized law conjuncture. And that goes for all the elites here on this current realm. There will become an order of effect, and they're noticing it through the Federation. Space Force is sensing it out, and as well as other foundations for the next age, and they will have to accept that if the planet is going to become on a world acclimated tone for a better effect.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 51. Blue, how are you doing?
I'm good today, Mike.
Hey, what are we going to talk about today in episode 51?
One of the things we'll be discussing about is alien mummification. The deeper scenes of effect of how they even had mummification with the pharaohs in the first place. How they had found in a 13,000-year-old tomb with the KGB from Russia a certain mummified alien, and that had a cover-up scene not many people have known about. Pictures are kind of blurry, as well as mummification scenes going on in Chile and other areas of effect.
Well, it sounds like we got an action-packed show today as usual. Hey, before we get started, I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank everybody for listening. And please go ahead and click like, subscribe, follow, all that fun stuff. Click on notifications so you're notified when we post new material. Blue, let's get right into it.
One of the places of effect that a possibility we need to talk about with pyramids as well. How they have certain underground burial chambers. And we're not talking about just pyramids dealing with Egypt. We have to go on the deeper scenes of effect. We're dealing with areas in Peru. We're dealing with areas in Antarctica. We're dealing with areas even underwater itself. Humans did not deal with mummification on their own agenda. They had either assistance or they had an elevated speed of a knowing from higher beings how to hold the body on its own and to preserve. There are several factors and wavelengths that accumulate between ancient Egypt and advanced societies itself. Even other societies dealing with Peru, even other societies dealing with the Mayans. There is several types of alien species out there that are mummified and preserved at cooperative levels amongst mankind.
You know, I the first thing that comes to mind when I hear what you're saying about underground pyramids, these are underwater or they're underground, like Agartha?
Well, there are tunnel systems that deal with the pyramids that actually hold burial extraterrestrial chambers. And that's just dealing with what they had with the societies, what they had held, even advanced technologies, what was maintained, even the divine motion. They also had, for these beings, certain areas that were off limits, and even cooperative military have them hidden. There are levels that hold these species.
You know, it's fascinating to me because there's certain areas where you can't fly over in our own country and in other areas around the world. And I've seen and heard of a lot of things happening in the Arctic Circle. I know we've talked about Antarctica in the past and a lot of things happen in there, but recently I've heard about the Arctic Circle too. So it's you can Google these things, folks. There's a lot going on right now all over the world. But what you're talking about here with the alien burial chambers, to me, is fascinating because of where we are in our own medical advancement. My next obvious question would be, can we do something like we think might have been done in the past with altering our DNA? Can we go back and backtrace these alien beings' DNA?
Well, one of two reasons for mummification. One, to preserve the DNA. It actually does preserve it better than what people think it does. Now, you can just put a body underground in a coffin. It's going to decay quicker. You put it and wrap it up and put certain liquids and other conjunction scenes into it. It's going to preserve it better. That was one thing they did, was help to preserve the DNA molecules. Humans didn't just do that, so did higher beings. And the other is, we're a higher specified being. Humans, other species, we're not low code. So this is just a way of setting an example for those on royalty lines, whether they're humans or ET, and preserving those royalty lines. And if you look through ancient Egypt, we're not far off. We talked about, the ancient divine codes there, the different pharaohs that had mummification, but they had a lot of power. Very similar to this. Have a lot of power, a lot of respect. So they had and are preserved.
I saw also in the notes here you had haunted pyramids. Are you suggesting that there's some sort of entity or some sort of spirit that is stopping or preventing people or maybe guiding people to these discoveries?
Well, the Tucume pyramids itself, Valley of the Pyramids, is one of the largest and most important groupings of ancient pyramids in the world. But like those subspecies that we have seen before, and they try to dislock it and say that it's not what it is, that the ET that they have found from Peru. Now, there very well could possibly be a subspecies that could be proactive with this and an ancient civilization of human race. Now, there also can be energies that interlock with Tucume itself. And when you have these witch doctors and you have these other things that trying to put negative energies into something that could have possibly provided a good energy at the time, it would have caused problems. And that's what they're doing. But there also could be divine acclamations of what they're respecting the foundations of the area itself because of the advancements that had happened at the time. A lot of these beings, they so-called disappeared. With all the pyramids and all the ancient advanced civilizations, they show pictures of these ETs and different races. If you look, you find them, hieroglyphs here or there, but they're gone. And even as that civilization is gone, where did it all go? Where did they go? We have to really delve in deeper and understand the deeper picture of things.
One of the things that's always fascinated me is the pyramids, because these blocks weigh tons and they're stacked and they're precise, and a lot of them look like they're some sort of laser cut. The precision is enormous. I mean, think about it today, folks. If you had to go outside in your backyard and take bricks that are already cut for you, okay, you don't have to cut them, and you try to build a structure without any of today's modern advancements, and you try to build a structure, I would be willing to bet just about everything that your structure wouldn't be as precise as the pyramids are, or as they appear to be. Are we saying that the pyramids were made as a starting point and now we're being guided toward what they really mean? Do you think it took us all this time to get to the meaning of the pyramids?
Well, there's slow leaks and drips that come out from advanced civilizations, as well as maintaining even the inner realms, because there are cooperative levels that connect right into the inner dimensions through some of these pyramid structures. They maintain through advanced civilizations. They maintain through even extraterrestrial modes of events. They maintain maybe in an understanding there were diplomatic races that had an equal opportunity or had their own agenda. There are even human races, like from the Native American Indians to other type of agenda speeds, that had certain terms of advancements that others currently don't have or didn't have at the time. They're always slowly dripping in to an equal term of something helping and to an assisting other throughout the peripheral timelines itself. And that motivational technique has been lost throughout the ages because humans have been ensnared by lies and deception, especially from current governments that want to hold the secrets that they don't that they don't even get to have.
You know, it's always fascinated me if you think about, and if you have any inclination to look up pictures of icebergs, they say most of the iceberg, up to 90% of it is below the surface. Like when we see these icebergs and so forth, they're, you know, the bigger chunk is underneath the water. My question then is, it's the same with the pyramids, is my understanding from what we're getting at. There's a structure underneath. Is that right?
Well, a certain, depends on the modes of event that equal through that term. I suppose electromagnetic lines that diffuse through the Agarthan realms and run right down into the parallel realms itself are an equal term, but they also connect. Humans don't understand that they connect to two peripheral visionary modes, the normal realm and the paranormal realms. The paranormal realms are the advancements, and as well as the techniques as creatures and outlets that humans have not gotten, or had gotten and lost and regained again and again and again. There are certain timeline events.
You know, I was looking at our show notes here, and the next topic here really just blew me away because I've often thought of these things. Tell me about the parallel planet development.
Well, the Artemis project, the Parallel Planetary Development Project, moving in between NASA and SpaceX itself. Understanding, moving the space age forward. As part of NASA's Artemis campaign to return humans to the moon for the benefit of all, the agency is working with SpaceX to develop the company's Starship human landing system, which will land astronauts near the moon's south pole during the Artemis 3 and 4 missions. Now, part of this is an escalation to actually motioning and moving mankind forward off the planet. So they would be able to have, whether it's having to do with scientific advancement achievements or maintaining domain on other exoplanetary systems that affiliates to zoning affairs. We already know the hollow modulation codes that maintain between both planetary grid systems. But on the outside, things have already been handled and worked on for several years. Mars itself will be something managed for mankind in the near future to live on. And there will be a cooperative level between NASA, between the motivations of working in between the moon, Mars, and planet Earth. So there will be 3 substructures. Biolaboratories, engineering products, maintaining, even moving forward for plants and animal life, and saving the graces and foundation of life itself could be maintained through the moon. Mars on its own already has a certain domain that is being worked and coordinated on through SpaceX. That's why they move back and forth so much with the rockets. And they have all that equipment. They're helping to maintain and manage the motivational codes for the next stage. Because the way this current planet is going, It's downsizing instead of upsizing. What I mean by that is moving downwards. We want things to move upwards. So if we're going to maintain things on this planet, humans have the right to maintain things on others, but for an authorized law conjuncture. And that goes for all the elites here on this current realm. There will become an order of effect, and they're noticing it through the Federation, Space Force is sending it out, and as well as other foundations for the next age, and they will have to accept that if the planet is going to become on a world acclimated tone for a better effect.
You know, we've often
NASA, this Artemis. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you know, we've often heard that, you know, things are going on that we're not sure of. Area 51. But then there's been dark projects. There's been dark space programs. There's been dark, and the things are budgeted and financed by the governments. And it amazes me that a lot of times they do these things in plain sight. Like, are we suggesting that the Artemis project, excuse me, is a lot deeper than we think? Like, they're presenting it, you know, and this is common stuff. You can find this all over online here, and this is a legit thing here. It says it's a moon exploration program that is led by the United States NASA and was formally established in the 2017 Space Policy Directive 1. My question is this a darker program than we realize, and this Artemis project is a cover?
It's something good, because this proactive scenes will help, just like I said, for scientific achievements and goals for mankind, and maintaining that the codes of ethics to certain distribution scenes according to governments and according to acceptable people there, and as well to maintaining that and the proactive scenes to Mars and back to Earth. Now, parallel planetary development will help develop another planetary realm and maintain its conjuncture just like Earth, but maintaining a better standard. So that way it's helping to preserve and persevere above the negative standards that are currently going on here. But in order for this current realm to be activated proper, like I said, we're going to have to maintain better management. Because
is the moon a jumping off point? Is it a rest stop on our way to the rest of the stars, the planets? Is that our first stop? Is this going to be utilized as a refueling station? Will there be a Buc-ee's or a gas station on the moon so we can travel further on?
Well, remember how I said that it is an extraterrestrial man-made achievement code. It's not considered moon structure. It's actually affiliated as a made structure. But the programmable scenes could be managed and self-maintained for humans to move forward. We're going to talk about that later on down the road. This is one thing that will definitely be a good motivator for mankind. When we actually have certain space programs maintaining codes of order for other realms and maintaining it right, and hopefully moving mankind out of the negative scenes that they are being distributed for. The current administration is ripping up and tearing the fabrications of life here on this planet. And we're going to have to find stabilized ways. If we don't find stabilized ways to move it forward, humans are not going to have a chance.
You know, I see that one of the things attached to your notes here on the Artemis project is SpaceX. And of course, we can't go a show without talking about Elon Musk. Is it logical to think that there are other beings from other places, other dimensions that are actually guiding us through these steps? Is there extraterrestrial intervention with NASA, with SpaceX?
Yes, obviously, it's been interactive scenes for quite a while. We have discussed this numerical times about the Intergalactic Council Society, you know, maintaining the codes of orders between the foundations of higher beings and elites and or governments and presidents. But yes, there have been several types of races. This planet It's not a human race planet. This planet has been managed by numerical types of paranormal effects.
Hmm.
And it will always be. It's just the humans are not seeing the in-between. If they look correctly, they will see it and they will notice the difference. And like I said, the governments are now leaking up things out very slowly. But take that all in coordinates, put it together. What are you going to get?
Fascinating stuff. I find everything we talk about, I could go on forever with, but I know we have a budgeted amount of time here. Can we get into the SCP Foundation?
Yes, SCP-576, sleep well. SCP-576 is a rounded glass bottle with a cork stopper measuring approximately 6 meters in diameter. It's etched with a simple design and crisscrossed stems with leaves and flowers and possesses no maker's marks. What becomes interesting with this, it's filled with a clear liquid and it refills on itself. And it has a high fructose solution and water solution. And it results in anomalous effects when someone drinks it. So like capable of filling itself. And when someone consumes it, results in no immediate effects. However, over time, when the individual goes to sleep after consuming such bottle, they will experience vivid dreams. These vivid dreams are reported to be based on memories significant to the individual itself. Now, it's going to make it very real based on the reality code of this individual. And when that usually happens, just like it said, take some time to clear your mind, bring back what's been left behind. When sipping, your woes are freed. One good night's sleep guaranteed. It induces a type of effect upon the mind module that puts you into a good dream status code.
You know, this is amazing to me.
Corporal peace.
We've talked about in the past how we only use a portion of our brain, only a portion of our mind. So you're suggesting that this is some sort of key to unlocking the unconscious, the subconscious?
Well, scientists had most likely possibly made this. They had found him dead by the bedside table when the Foundation had acclimated this conjuncture point. And then they had found that note, like I had just stated. So it gets an understanding of what had happened, what's going on. He has sleep-induced peace, but the person was going through a lot of traumatic scenes at the time, which cooperated and co-induced him into making this type of liquid that would help others induce self-peace when they are in sleep status code.
Is this something that scientifically we've been able to borrow some of this technology, some of this chemistry? We've been able to borrow that for good, or can it be used for evil, do you think?
Well, it brings up hyphenated levels of dreams, and it also creates corporal peace, depending on how much is being intaked.
This is a safe thing, though. This is contained. There's no possibility that this is somewhere else and can get into the wrong hands.
Well, no. It's in the hands of the Foundation. So with the liquid, when they are affected through the sleep, they'll pass through natural stages. And pretty much, they are scientifically seeing what can be done with this type of molecule, because it is a bit different. But it is kind of very similar to what they induce in the certain chemicals and bioagents that they put into mankind to help bring more peace or fundamentally slow down the intake zones, help them sleep better. Sorry to say, some things in big pharma too that do that. But there is a chemical compound that helps induce the sleep on a better peripheral vision mode. This has a major intake mode of it, but it's added as a paranormal account too. It's more or less likely interdimensional coding effect because it was made and manufactured by a scientist, but it was made and manufactured possibly by someone who already knows the corporal standard through other things.
This next one I see on our list here, this one blows my mind a little bit. What's next for the SCP?
531, paired brass guard cats. SCP-531 consists of several paired sets of brass statues depicting stylized felines. The cats are in a seated position looking forward with ears raised in what is usually described as an attentive expression. Their eyes are inlet with appears to be polished tiger eye stones that give an impression of luminescence, but they do not directly emit light. The original pair was found by an archaeologist in a tomb near Egypt, in a certain area, that dated to approximately on a coordinated time BC. The outer chamber of the tomb had been thoroughly looted in antiquity, and the two SCP statues are located in the passage leading to the inner chamber. This, and think about a magnetized motion of stopping the person from entering. These types of statues create magnetized polarity lines and on-guard or electromagnetic lines that pushes or pretty much stops the person from going through.
It sounds
yes, were they acclimated in advanced technology from Egypt itself? Very possibly. Lyrians, we had talked about the ancient cat species, bipedal, that had a cooperative event through there. Did it come from that ancient advanced race? Very possibly so. Did it come into an alignment code to maintaining what was hidden even past that?
You know, listening to your initial description there, it sounds a lot to me like the reason there's a pair, it may establish some sort of force field, some sort of, you know, if you look at, if you follow these movies where people break into places and vaults, they take a spray and they spray it down and you see these lines of protection that, you know, if that line is breached, you know, it'll prevent you or at least notify people that someone's there.
It's a psychological effect. It's a psychological effect. It's a psychological barrier effect. When someone passes by and sees the peripheral visions and they're facing each other, they provide and prevent anyone from passing between them. It creates a psychological deferring effect. And yes, it affects the electromagnetic fields that are being distributed within the actual person itself. It affects both leeway terms.
Is it possible as a people we've borrowed some technology from these, is it possible that's where we got the idea for that description I gave, like in the movies with the laser lines and everything?
Well, it's one of the possibilities, but this is more or less, you know, stops one's mind from moving forward. And you know how they have talked about people going through passageways and being lost and other things happening, or you can't go there. You're not allowed to go in those areas. That's one main reason, because there's just certain things that they're not able to remove, or they have removed, that they have some type of energy in them, or some type of cymatic technology in them that could affect others. You know, we had talked, they said about in certain books and stuff about plagues, and how you go into a tomb or something, you get plagued, or you just step over pharaohs. You've heard about that, right? Well, it's kind of similar. There are certain type of properties out there that are out of line through advancements and achievements, even through the inner psyche brain matter that they have, that they're still hidden. But yeah, certain governments and militaries protect this too, because some of it could pose a very high threat against mankind because they don't understand and are not allowed to step certain barriers.
Interesting stuff as always from the SCP Foundation. What do we have to report from your positions with the Federation and the Space Force?
Look, Donald Trump missing out on his son's Barrett's high school graduation. What kind of cock and bullshit is this? Excuse my language. But for the court system and the current standard system to just keep pushing him away from his own family ordeals, you guys there's just nothing right in that mindset. I can't forget, I mean, it's the current stance of family now, and even the population in America is downsizing. We're losing the population in America. I mean, you know, having kids, being able to have families and everything, it's going down now. It's being pushed down. It's pushing out of its own perimeter effect. Humans do not want to become extinct. This is one of the main concerns about maintaining another ethic codes. This was a big no-no. We don't need to act out this way. Another thing is, military-age Chinese males are pouring in from the southern border. What do you think, Sai, would do over 30,000 military-age American males invading the Chinese border since January? Now, we're talking about Central America, Mexico, and all that crap, and now they are just flooding in. Now we're talking about this. I mean, cooperative levels for China and many other countries should be working alongside USA, maintaining codes of ethics for the next stage. We're not going to flood each other's gates and cause problems. That's all I'm stating here. No flooding of gates. How about self-management and see what proactively can be done between each country and set a term numerically in order on the right stance. This is a big no-no because a lot of these people we don't know of, and honestly, I don't care who it is. If you don't do your homework and you keep allowing it in, there's going to be problems and it corrupts. Instead of allowing it in, maybe we should work on it. Work on the whole planet together. See what can be done everywhere. Because what could be done there in their country. What they can do.
Fascinating stuff.
One more thing, pro-Israel students saying God bless America while proudly waving American and Israel flags. And then a stark comparison from her group that chants death to America and waves jihadi flags. Come on, people. Do we need this? We don't. This is a wake-up sign. This is pretty much saying screw USA. We don't need that. For shame on you all. Let's make Earth great again. Please.
Awesome. Mega to mega. I like it. I like it. And on an aside there, two points I want to make that you've made as well, but I want to spit it out in plain black and white English here. One is, if you watch what's happening at the border, you see a lot of military age men coming through of different nationalities. You talked about China, and since they've fended off the Texas border a little bit, they're coming in through California, which is a liberal country of its own. It's not even our country anymore, if you ask me. And it's amazing that they all are the same military type age. They're all carrying the same backpacks. These people didn't swim the ocean from China to get here. There's a certain path that was taken here. And I don't know what you folks know about China, but you can't just leave. It's a communist. They try. You have to have permissions and targets, and you're being governed still, even though you're not in that country. The next thing is, I can't believe our own government is assisting in this, and it just blows my mind that people in this country, like you talked about, saying that they are Hamas. We are Hamas. Death to America.
We are Hamas!
You're Hamas. Wow. That's a good one. You're what? You're Hamas?
Yes, we're all Hamas, pig!
Well, Hamas is a registered terrorist organization. We should arrest these people, and we should use an exchange program with Hamas to get our own American hostages out of the Gaza Strip, from which they were taken on October 7th. They were taken from Israel. We have American hostages that you never hear about on the news that are over there right now still. God only knows if they're alive still. And our own government is facilitating and trying to play both sides of the ball there to win an election, to win those liberal states in Michigan and Minnesota, those corridors where they planted refugee people. All these people are coming across the border for two purposes. One, for the census. Well, you say, Mike, it's a long play. Yeah, but the census, you get representatives to the House based on population, not based on citizens, based on population. The next point here is, A lot of these people are eligible to vote right away, according to some states. They got a motor voter thing where you go in, you register, you can get a driver's license, and while you're there, oh yeah, register to vote. Oh, I have to vote Democratic because Biden let me in. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be long-winded. I'm not trying to steal this here, but it just amazes me that our own government is facilitating our own demise, and it kills me here. We're almost out of time, and I apologize, Blue, for going on a rant there, but can we get into ET of the week?
Yes, absolutely. ET of the week, Mantoid Manti Species. 3 known existing types of elevated subspecies of insectoids, generally passive unless provoked. 2 types pose more insectoid and genetic qualities than the third. Alliance with extraterrestrial grey species, some may have become enslaved through certain other types. Green subspecies bear thin legs with wings, yellow eyes, and are assigned with areal directives. White subspecies bear 3 pairs of legs, black mandibles with black eyes. Black subspecies possess more humanoid hybrid features. Cooperative levels acclimate through their own agendas. Science velocities acclimate with DNA carrier option programs. Qualities on body structure with black exoskeleton with extra joints on arms and legs, glowing golden red eyes. The last type, more directively to humans calling codes, meaning they have they have dealing with their own agenda. They don't go with the other agenda of these other 2 subspecies. They're more or less sequenced into a genetic code between, well, they're more humanoid, if you will, but more humanoid to insectoid property. And they have dealt with scientific preservation as well as motivational techniques between cooperation levels on themselves and humans and other sub-level species. They're a bit more advanced.
This is definitely an evil species, or this is something that we can work with?
Neutral term. They're a neutral term. So they can go both ways, but they're never evil. They're considered neutral. So that means they could become enslaved by negative beings and have to do nasty work and don't have a choice. Or they can be just stay neutral to a positive output stream. They have closer cousins articulated already through mantises here in this world, certain types of mantis species.
You know, that was going to be my next question, because the praying mantis, and it looks a lot like these pictures you had sent. It's my understanding the praying mantis decapitates its mate once it's mated. Is that? It doesn't sound like they can keep going. This is not the same type thing, right?
No, well, no, those are lower module cousins. The higher module, more articulated species are more advanced. They wouldn't do something like, I mean, queens in their own planetary realm might, to a certain status code, but they wouldn't do that amongst mankind, not that I would know of. They would deal with other conjuncture events.
Wow.
Because
awesome.
They have a bipedal mode.
Awesome stuff as usual, Blue. Great show today. Great stuff in 51 here. I do want to remind everybody, you can be part of the show. You can be part of the movement here. Check out the link in the comments there. You can get a shirt or a hat like Blue or I are wearing here. And by the way, make sure you like, subscribe, click on notifications, all that stuff, so you're notified when we post new material. Blue, thank you again as always. Excellent stuff in 51. And I want to remind everybody to keep looking up. We'll see you next time, folks.